1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Good afternoon and welcome to Ealing Trailfinders. As we are the Ealing Trailfinders in round 9 of the Greene King IPA Championship. We would like to welcome
Well, our satellite map zooms into the East Midlands this Sunday afternoon to Nottingham, to West Bridgeford to be precise, and to Lady Bay, the home of the Green and Whites. Nottingham Rugby, and round 9 of the Greene King IPA Championship sees them taking on Ealing Trailfinders. It's 4th, taking on 2nd. And your company is very, very welcome indeed. There's going to be plenty to chat about ahead of this one and during the course of the match. And, well, we've just the man to do it. Well, a very good afternoon. Welcome to Nottingham, and a welcome to Tom May as well. Tom, this one is, well, two teams that hopefully like to throw the ball around, and we should be in for some entertainment this afternoon. Yeah, both sides really want to play an expansive style of rugby. They've stated that. It's been interesting to hear Ben Ward's comments during the week saying that they're nearly getting to that standard where they think they could make that progression into the Premiership. That's a big statement. It's clearly where they want to go, and hopefully this afternoon we'll see a bit more detail around that. Yeah, just 5 points between Ealing and Bristol at the top of the table. Bristol wanted to have this campaign wrapped up by Christmas. I think many people thought they might have done, but Ealing breathing down their neck, almost a responsibility on behalf of the rest of the league to keep that pressure on Bristol. Yeah, and I think, you know, the competitiveness of this league gets better year on year. I think it's a fantastic place for the Championship to be. Bristol clearly are going to be most people's favourites, but I think Ealing are doing a fantastic job of building in terms of their, you know, from one season to the next, getting some exciting players in, and really can attack that Bristol side now. Well, we can have a look back at the highlights from round 8 in terms of the tries that went down. It's the Greene King IPA Championship try-lights from a week ago. Walk of the dummy runner. Now it's Moyle. Thinks he might have spotted a bit of room. Gets the shout on the shoulder from Laverick. Point wants quick ball. O'Meara will provide the quick ball and Moyle will finish it. He gets his 8th try of the season and Kyle Moyle might just have sealed the victory for Cornish Pirates. So those are the results from round 8. Of course, Tom May and I down at Penzance for Cornish Pirates against Hartpury, and well, those late scores that took Pirates away, they were certainly pleased with that result. And well, I think we can also now look at the results that have come in from round 9 so far over the weekend, the games that have taken place. And well, here they are. There's a couple that stand out there, Tom May. Perhaps the Scottish result, the Richmond result, and that draw between Donny and Bedford. Yeah,
I think the draw between Donny and Bedford, I would have put my money on Bedford winning that game. Interesting it there as well. Hartpury losing at home to Richmond. Richmond seem to be building as the season progresses, especially on their performances last year, which I think is great. And Scottish against Pirates just nicking the win.
So we can have a look at the form for Nottingham Rugby. And well, you can see there they had the loss to Bedford Blues, but they'd had a run of 3 wins going into that one. And 4 wins overall over the course of the season. So that's what, well, has them in 5th with the other games that have been played today, but 4th overall in the table before this weekend. And Ealing Trailfinders, well, it's just that one loss to Bristol in round 5, but they weren't too far off, were they, Tom?
No, not at all. And I think you can certainly see from Nottingham's results as well. Every time they've won, they scored more than 30 points. And Bristol, you know, nicking that win against Ealing, but that'll be certainly one for Ealing to target later on in the season.
Here's a bit of action of each of the teams over last weekend, and well, Ealing were 14 points to 0 up after 12 minutes in their match. It was Leiden getting over with the first one, and then Will Harries managing to end up on the end of this. And Ealing, well, both sides really, as we sort of said at the top of the show, they like to try and spread it. And Ealing, you know, they play on the 3G surface. It gives them a bit of go forward. Pleased to see that the rain has abated for us today.
Yeah, and the wind. And the wind last week down in Penzance.
As we got our Cornish facelift down in Penzance.
I think what the interesting thing is about Ealing is that all of their forwards can play, which makes it really interesting when you see them interlink between the back rowers, the second rowers and the backs. They've got some exciting backs. Piers O'Connor and Seb Stegman stand out for me. But Ryan Smith, you know, he's a big old unit carrying the ball forward and certainly one to step forward since the departure of Duratalo.
Yeah, got a couple of scores there. Ryan Smith. In terms of Nottingham, well, they were 30 points to 0 down before they started getting scores. And it wasn't the happiest afternoon or evening for them. Here are the consolation scores. Poulet popping up on the end of the first one.
It'll be disappointing for them, but Goldington Road is a difficult place to go and play. You know, Bedford have got some good players. They've recruited some more experienced players. So it's not easy.
And Tiff Eden, of course, the man who was popping up on the end of that one as well. So that's how the teams were looking last week as they put the scores down. We're building up towards kickoff here. We hope you're wrapped up nice and warm wherever you're watching this, on the England Rugby Facebook page or the Championship Rugby website. Yeah, we are certainly. We're wrapped up in our nice England Rugby jackets. But we can catch up with the coaches then ahead of kickoff. We've had a chance to speak to Ben Ward and to Ian Costello, and we can hear from them now. Well, Ben, 7 out of 8 for Ealing Trailfinders in the IPA Championship so far this season. Is it going to be an 8th win today?
Oh, we certainly hope so. It's a tough place to come and win. We've never won here before, and I think they're playing some really good stuff. So we know the test ahead of us, especially defensively. They've picked 2 playmakers at 10 and 12 as well, so we know they're going to play with some width and the conditions suit that. So a real test for us, but hopefully we can assert our game on them as well.
What's been the key to Ealing Trailfinders' success this season?
I think a lot of continuity. If you look at our staff, the key group of players were here at the back end of last season. We were fortunate with getting a few guys mid-season, with I guess a few guys from Bristol, a few guys from London Welsh, Rory Clegg, and I think that's been a key to that continuity going into this year. I think we've developed our game in terms of our get-outs, our attacking play, and I think it's come together nicely.
Rory Clegg on the bench, as you mentioned. Good to see him back.
Yeah, massive for us. Aaron's been under a lot of pressure. We've had Shane as well, who's now injured for a couple of months, but it just gives competition, and hopefully that keeps Aaron on his feet. He played really well last week, but yeah, Rory's a top player, and exudes confidence throughout the rest of the squad.
Do you sense an air of responsibility, perhaps pressure on Ealing to keep up that pressure on Bristol, because you're the team breathing down their neck? 5 points today keeps that 5-point gap that there was going into this round?
I think there's definitely a change of expectation on us this year. We've even felt it within our own supporters. But look, we played them at home in February. One of our aims is to make sure the game has some meaning. That's what we want to do. We felt we didn't do ourselves quite justice at their place, leading with 7 to go and not quite doing the job. So if we can take that down to the wire, but there's a lot of games in between for both clubs. And as I say, this is a massive month for us. We started with Yorkshire last weekend, Nottingham today, Doncaster, and then Hartbury. It's a real test of where we're at as a side.
We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
William Costello, thanks for joining us. A chance for Nottingham to go third this afternoon. How's the week been?
Yeah, we've had a good week. I suppose on the back of a very poor result and a very poor performance last Friday night. So, if we are to go third, we'll earn it. I think Ealing are probably the most balanced side in the competition. Both sides of the ball, good pack, good set piece, an excellent goal kicker, and play with a huge amount of width and pace. Very well coached side. And if we end up in third place this evening, we'll certainly have earned it.
Matt Everard takes over the skipper's duties, coming in for his first start, where Ben Morris has had duties before that. What do you see in Matt?
Yeah, Matt is the club captain. He's an exceptional character, to be fair, last year, this year. And from a playing point of view, he just hasn't quite broken into our side until this point. He's been knocking on the door, and he brings a huge amount of energy, a lot of experience, and he leads from the front. And we felt we needed him today, and he's going to be hopefully spearheading that performance, and we're looking for guys to follow him.
Yeah, following him, hopefully, on the points will be Tiff Eden, who's the club points top scorer this season. How key will he be this afternoon?
Yeah, Tiff, to be fair, has really approached this season. He's come from a Premiership club. He's approached in a really positive way. He's an excellent pro, and he prepares really well. And at the moment, he's having a quality season. And you know yourself, if you've got leaders in those positions, it instills a lot of composure across the team. And that's what he's done. And what he's probably done is we've capitalised on opportunities that last year that we didn't. We had inconsistencies. We had 8 different out halves for the whole season. And he's given us that stability that we need, and quality stability at that.
What do you need to see from your Nottingham team this afternoon, then?
Well, I suppose this week, in terms of our preparation, we had a good look at areas that I suppose were uncharacteristic last week. We love to play the game with a lot of energy, high intensity, high tempo, moving the point of attack, and we lacked that. We lacked that bounce in our game last week, and then it filters right through your game. We fell off a lot of tackles, so we focus a huge amount on our performances and where they were prior to last Friday night. But you have to look at Ealing, you have to look at the challenges they have across the board, how strong they are in certain areas, and we set up and hopefully well prepared in terms of our game plan to counteract those threats.
We look forward to it. Best of luck.
Thank you.
So we await the entrance of the teams, and we can have a look at the lineups for this afternoon's match. After last weekend's disappointing 30 points to 12 defeat at Bedford, then Nottingham head coach Ian Costello, who we hear from there, has made 6 changes to his starting 15. James Penman and Will Stewart will pair up either side of ex-Irish hooker Jimmy Stevens, with Matt Everard coming into the forward pack for his first captaining of the side. David Williams, Geroyd Lyons and Sean Scanlon are the other additions to the back line. Freeling, well, their 3 changes from the win against Yorkshire Carnegie sees both props rotated, with James Gibbons and Mark Tampin starting alongside Scottish hooker Alan Walker in the front row. Arthur Ellis comes back into the side next to Rain Smith, who we saw scoring those tries, and Mark Bright will captain from the back row. Peter Lydon, the points machine, is there at 15. Looking at the replacements, Jordan Coughlin takes a spot there for the first time in the league this season. Vili Hakalo, double try scorer when the sides met last November. And for Ealing, Rory Clegg, well, we mentioned him in the interview there, a notable name on the bench set for his first appearance of the season since returning from injury. Teams on their way out then. led by Nottingham. It was, of course, Remembrance Sunday last week with these sides playing before that. There wasn't the opportunity to pay their respect, so we will have a minute's silence ahead of this one. So the crowd getting to their feet as we mark the moment's silence, which will end on the referee's whistle. Beautifully observed. Our referee for this one is Jack Makepeace, assisted by Gareth Holsgrove and Matthew Daubney. And I think we're ready to go, Tom May. What are you expecting from this one?
Oh, hopefully an open game.
Yeah,
conditions are perfect.
That's what we want, isn't it?
It's pretty fresh. Both sides, as I said, with some exciting talent on show. It'd be great to see them shifting the ball around this park. Fairly good conditions underfoot. I had a little trot across it myself.
Game is underway then. Great to have your company wherever you're watching. By the England Rugby Facebook page or the Greene King IPA Championship table. As clearance is made by Nottingham. Up just around the halfway line. Aaron Penberthy putting up the high bomb. Wants to make it contestable. It ended up coming backwards off an Ealing hand, but Nottingham have managed to snaffle it on the floor, and the clearance then comes downfield and bobbles into touch.
Some good kicks there. Great competition in the air. Certainly Pete Lydon's one of those ones that is a fullback, rangy fullback. He can get in the air, he can compete. There's good competition there between himself and Scanlon.
Yeah, interesting that both teams in those opening exchanges were opting for a bit of aerial stuff in that middle third of the field. Alan Walker hasn't quite worked out for Ealing. It's come backwards off Matt Everard, so it'll be a chance for Veenendaal to get it away. Veenendaal through the hands from Eden onto Lyons. Trying to find the hands free to get the pass away, Eden. Back to the right again. Veenendaal feeding them back down the short side again. Eden turning through the tackles. Nottingham going through the phases here. Tom Holmes with the carry, trying to make an extra couple of yards on his 7th start of the season. Now they come again, that time Will Stewart getting involved. It's been one of the brighter lights for Nottingham over the season, showing good form. It might come to Stewart again here. There is the big prop, sits down the first defender, tries to get the leg drive going through. Nottingham, they've pulled out the drop goal. It's gone just wide. Referee Makepeace well positioned.
Quite sure about that decision to just drop in the pocket and go for goal there. They've taken a long time. They've been really patient and kept the ball well. To be fair to Ealing, they went defensively under a huge amount of pressure, but just felt like that desperation to score meant that Tiff Eden dropped back and just thought, well, let's have a shot to the posts.
But a sense that they weren't getting through. Do you think that was the reason behind it?
Yeah, possibly, but hadn't really fired any shots. It could have at least come down to this near side from our commentary position, had an attack.
Decent initial step from Shane Buckley there. 6th start at number 8. Got a try against Richmond. Now then, the charge through. Oh, Rain Smith must have thought it was Christmas. Ended up just juggling it and giving it away. And is it going to work out for Nottingham on the turnover ball? With Billy Robinson, experienced campaigner with Nottingham, joined in 2014. Needed to be picked away quickly by Vinendal, which it was. Trailfinders doing their best to put on the pressure defensively. Now Nottingham trying to find a bit of room round the outside through Ollie Evans, and they line it up down that left-hand channel. Eden, little flatter pass to try and send one of his forwards through the gap. Danny Qualter, man in from Connacht. Another short little ball. David Williams with the carry.
Being patient here again, Nottingham. Fantastic the way they're trying to build up through the phases. Oh, that was a massive collision, that.
Away from Vinendal again. Slower ball now for Nottingham. Haven't looked too much at a kicking game in terms of the corners. They decide to go for the aerial option again, putting the pressure on Seb Stegman. And it's worked out, and it's into the hands of Leiden. Sorry, Scanlon. Nearly ripping it away. Stegman didn't quite deal with the aerial battle, and it's worked as getting Nottingham another 20 metres upfield. Vinendal feeds to the left from right in front of the posts. Back infield is Evans. Brilliant feed from Ollie Evans, and he opens the scoring for Nottingham Rugby. Immediately congratulated by Shane Buckley. And Tom May straight in with the words, good feet. Certainly was. And it's the first score of the game.
Great step from Ollie Evans. Not so sure about the tash, but maybe the rest of it fell off when he sidestepped. Brilliant change of direction. Didn't lose any speed.
Just make sure
really impressed with the way that Nottingham have built up through the phases, and Mark Bright
been left for dead.
Yeah, sat right back down on his heels, and that is a very good score for Nottingham. Deserved that. They've kept the ball well. If ever you built a score, that's probably one of them.
Yeah, indeed. 3rd try of the season for Ollie Evans. Started all but the game against Pirates. Just the start the home side will have wanted. They will be all too aware of what Ealing can do with ball in hand. So, well, the strategy in the opening 6 minutes, make sure they don't have any. Conversion effort is good. Tiff Eden adds the extras, and Nottingham get themselves up to 7.
It's a great start for Nottingham. Vinendal's been sharp in and around those breakdowns, and he's been a real threat, which draws the attention of 1 or 2 defenders. But you've got someone with feet like that and an ability to step away from the defence. That's an unbelievable threat to have in your back line.
Restart from Ealing. Might hear a little bit more close quarters stuff now. I think referee Mr. Makepeace has turned his microphone on now. So we'll hear a little bit more from him. Stegman has got someone going around on the outside. It was Leiden looking to create the extra man, but it's now with Carter. Carter feeds it away to Tampin, joined from Jersey last season. Previously played all his rugby in Yorkshire. Now then, quick through the hands. Did that just go forward? It did. Barney Madison hoped to get away with that one by doing it almost in slow motion.
Yeah, but when you're that size, you don't get away with things like that. Great hands from Mark Bright, though. Spent a huge amount of time on the 7th circuit, I believe, as well. So that's where he's developed his skills.
Yeah, Bright, the Rugby Players Association Championship Player of the Year last season. Popular figure, 5 tries in 27 games he scored then. But he left London Scottish previously to that, crossed the Kew Bridge to join Ealing.
He must have his own tape budget, I think. Literally strapped together, isn't he?
Yeah. He's not doing too bad. 5 tries in 27 games previously. He's got 2 tries in 9 so far this season. Bright.
Right, stand up.
Ealing number 8. Yeah, those legs are pretty heftily taped.
Here's your mark.
It's interesting that Nottingham are looking to keep the ball, and you mentioned it there before, Nick. If they turn the ball over to this Ealing side, they have an ability to attack from deep, from anywhere on the field. Really threatening back three. Will Harries and Seb Stegman have to keep hold of it. They've done that brilliantly in these opening 9 minutes.
Set.
Chatting to Ian Costello before the game, and he was also telling me that the average age of Nottingham last season was under 23. They brought in a few more wizened characters, a bit more weight into the side this season to give them a little bit more strength. It's what you need in the Championship. Now there's a bit of a gather. Is there any question over whether it went forward? The referee's asking his assistant, but it now shoots out. Billy Robinson it was to begin with, but the try is scored. It's Ollie Evans' second.
Wow. That is a hell of a start for Nottingham. A great crossfield kick. Possibly a little knock-on down this near touchline. Referee certainly
Let's have a little look.
Oh, no, I think it's a great decision.
Yeah, doesn't touch it, does he, Billy Robinson?
Bit of footballing skill. We're underneath the shadow, aren't we, of the Brian Clough stand, just across the way, and Ollie Evans is over for 2 inside the first 10 minutes.
Oh, thanks, thank you. It's earlier.
Eden then to add the extras. Certainly taking his time, but that's the result. Oh, right on target. I thought it was sailing through, but it has just fallen just short. So, Nottingham 12.
Didn't it?
It did, yeah. Nottingham 12, Ealing Trailfinders 0. And as Tom May says, dream start for the home side.
Yeah, they wouldn't have asked for any more, would they? In the opening 10 minutes, 11 minutes.
Yeah, cruising at a point a minute, really.
That's back and off the foot. Play on.
Referee says it went back on Nottingham's side. I think they left it because they thought they'd knocked it on, but they were in a position to potentially hold on to that ball. And there's nearly a steal there from Everard himself, but Ealing do hold on to it through Harry Casson. Now round the back. Tackles in, but Ealing are doing well to keep the ball alive through Pemberthy and then O'Connor. But it's loose, advantage is being played, and then it's been chipped through. Advantage is over, so we're as we were. And Ealing opt for the high ball. Geroyd Lyons is under it, but Billy Robinson has come forward and claimed it excellently. Able to deal with the aerial threat from Ealing so far, Nottingham. Ealing not had much change out of it. Kick straight down the centre of the park. Does not work too well. Pemberthy able to deal with it, and he's looked for the corner, but he's overcooked it.
Those little skills on the wide edge at the moment, letting Ealing down. That's twice now that they've made Hanley errors down the touchline.
Hold there, Ealing.
Brian Clough stand overlooking things at Lady Bay. Did one of my first ever commentaries over there against Isha many moons ago. Oh, that's lovely little showing and going from Billy Robinson. He's going to go all the way. Nottingham are going to have 3 tries inside 13 minutes. Billy Robinson says thank you very much, was involved in the second one, and he scores the third.
Well, Ealing look like they're still on the bus, to be honest. They haven't even fired a shot. They haven't put any big hits in, and this is just far too easy. A one-out pass, a missed tackle from Pemberley, and then there's no one to even lay a finger on Billy Robinson. And I have no doubt, knowing Alex Codling, he will be jumping up and down. I'm surprised we won't be able to hear the feel the vibrations up in our commentary box here.
3 tacklers missed him. We saw in the England-Canada women's game on Friday night, Jess Breach came flying in at first receiver around the scrum, and the defence just couldn't lay a finger on her, and through she went. It looked naive from the Canadian defence, and well, you've just seen it from a team second in the Greene King IPA Championship. Just not dealing with a one-out runner, throwing a couple of dummies and getting through.
And for all the good things that Ealing do manage to complete in their games, they really need to wake up, because at the moment they're second best in every department.
Ealing compete well at the restart. Joe Munro got a really good mitt to that and sent it back, and Carter sets up the platform. Running round the corner is Gibbons.
Stay.
A couple of seasons on loan at Plymouth Albion, Gibbons, but into the side this week, into that front row.
One move.
Munro required to do some of the physical stuff to try and set up the platform. Former Nottingham man, of course. Now they come to the right. Pemberley through the hands from O'Connor. Carter again. First man was Walker. Set the platform. Pemberley looking a little wider. Big frame of Harry Casson in the midfield. And Pemberley again, cutting back in, looking for those players. The holes aren't quite there from Nottingham, though.
No.
Trying to use a bit of footwork that time, Arthur Ellis. Carter. Madison that time. Penalty, Nottingham.
On his feet, first man in, clear release.
Brilliant turnover from Everard, leading from the front. And just as Ealing were going through the phases and building up momentum.
Great turnover from Matt Everard, but that all came from the defensive pressure that Nottingham managed to put on Ealing time and time again. Their line speed was fantastic. That would have been something they've worked on during the week to try and shut down the ability of Ealing.
I get your point.
The way they look to try and play the game, cut down that space. They're getting off the line quickly. We've seen it from Jimmy Stevens 2 or 3 times already.
Time's off, gents.
Flying up in defence, chopping those big carriers, not allowing Ealing to get on the front foot.
Gents, time's off. Time's off.
We've got a moment of time off as one of the Ealing players is, one of the Nottingham players is down.
Okay.
Danny Qualter missed the Richmond game, started all the others.
7. Okay, thank you. Gents, it'll be 7 when we restart.
In the league.
7, man.
Look at the way these two teams have been performing over the past few weeks. Nottingham look like the side that are full of confidence. It's not Ealing. They don't really look like they know how they're going to get themselves into this game. They can't. There's just 1 or 2 passes. They're making mistakes on those wide edges, as I've already mentioned. They look a bit shell-shocked, to be honest. I'm just trying to find Alex Codling from our position here, but
Let's go.
as I mentioned, he will be fuming at the way this game has started.
Well, 3 changes from the win against Yorkshire Carnegie you wouldn't imagine would be enough to disrupt the momentum, but it seems to have done, or at least something has.
Especially with the quality of player that Ealing have now. They have an ability to compete with the likes of Bristol. But certainly, think about what Ben Ward said during the week and the Premiership, the link to the Premiership. On this first 20 minutes, they're miles off the pace.
It's with Nottingham still. From the line out. Into midfield. There is Jimmy Stevens, scrapping well on the floor, the hooker. Chip through, looking into the corner, looking to try and turn Pete Lydon back towards his own try line. Under a fair bit of pressure to make the clearance, and Nottingham would be perfectly happy with that, keeping up the pressure.
Great kick from Tiff Eden. Quite happy to just push Ealing backwards. Imagine the stats now have managed to get the possession stats. They'd be way up. Ealing have hardly had the ball. And every time that Ealing have got anywhere near that Nottingham 22, they've either made a mistake or they've been turned over.
Stay.
Tom Holmes brings it down.
Advantage, 5's across the line, he's affected the setup.
And there's an advantage being played against Harry Casson. So Nottingham have a shot here, trying to put a bit of depth on it, and then they find double try scorer Evans, but we're coming back for the penalty.
It's affected their maul setup. You've landed on top of one of their lifters.
Nottingham played Friday night when they played against Bedford, so they'll have had a good 8-9 days to prepare for this one. But
post. Poles.
Ealing played Saturday, so it's not as if the advantage is heavily in one way. But the scoreboard tells quite the story. 19-0 as the clock ticks on to 19 minutes. And, well, this will be a chance for Tiff Eden to keep it ticking over.
You just wonder. I said that Ealing looked like they're still on the bus. You wonder whether they might have travelled up this morning. I was trying to find that out. I didn't manage to do that pre-game because they certainly looked like they're a bit asleep.
Yeah, something needs to wake them up. You'd have thought 19 points inside the first quarter of the game would have done it.
That might focus your attention slightly.
Yeah, just a little. Penalty straight through. Eden makes it 3 out of 4 from the tee. Nottingham up to 22. Ealing 0.
He's got nothing to do with the line out, has he? So we're playing on.
Amazing start from Nottingham.
Let's go, gents.
And this is where you really find out where you're at as a side. Ealing would have dominated a lot of the games that they've played in. They find themselves under real pressure here in terms of getting themselves back into the game, because this is where it has the potential to unravel completely.
Score advantage.
Well, Nottingham have got to keep it up, haven't they? Not believe that at any stage any number of advantages done, because a team that are second in the table will consistently find ways to win.
No.
Have proven ways of doing so. Carter. Pemberthy.
That line speed again.
Advantage over.
Carter again. Mark Bright.
Stay there.
Tackle from Qualter. Now they look to try and run around the corner. Carter dummies it in the end.
I've got it. Keep the mark, Matt.
I think there is a penalty advantage coming. Comes out the back for Ealing. Nearly found a way of bringing Stegman into it there. Referee bringing them back for the penalty.
Yeah, thank you. Off the ball.
It's a tricky call, that, isn't it? Because Carter was clearly going to feed the man who was on that wraparound. Tackle was attempting to be man and ball. Just the minor error is that he never got the ball.
It's one of those fundamental laws of the game.
Very, very close too. The Nottingham defence. They are working hard, but it's interesting. It's obviously been a work on for them this week to make sure that that line speed is hard, but it's going to be tiring. And can they keep it up for the 80 minutes? Ealing will be hoping they can't.
Well, the way to nullify that for Ealing is to make sure that the breakdowns are in the middle of the field. It means those defensive lines can't get forward as much or with as much pace.
And an advancing defence should leave room in behind.
That's twice used.
Ealing told to use it. Carter, Stegman.
Hold.
They've only got 3 men wide in the 3/4 line here, so they're going to have to give it to Casson to try and make a couple of yards close quarters. You can hear the word tempo, tempo through the referee's mic. Carter pushes his forwards round to the left again. Nottingham defence holds up on the first thrust. Now they go again. Into the hands of Smith, who was well met.
Hold.
Good chop tackle on Tampin.
Hold.
Ealing still with the ball, with Madison. Nottingham tackling for their lives here as Ealing keep coming round the corner. It's not the quickest ball for Ealing at the minute. They're taking their time with each little thrust, each little phase.
Stay there. Yeah.
Making half a yard and losing half a yard with each little opportunity. Oh, but then the ball squirts out. Mark Bright nearly able to take advantage. Those are the sorts of moments when it gets a little unstructured, when something spontaneous happens, that it can be the toughest to defend. But Nottingham have held up to it. Ealing again, back in for Gibbons.
Just a bit flat there, though. Not really able to put any pace onto the ball.
Over.
Ellis that time. Now they're looking to try and use Munro, the big 6'5" frame of the centre. It might have sucked in a couple of defenders and they get quicker ball. Will Harry's spinning through the first tackle. Now they reckon it's on. Bright going for it himself. The referee with several blows on the whistle. I think he's just going to consult his assistant.
Forward. Another little inaccuracy, another mistake for Ealing in vital area for them. They've worked so hard, put so much energy into getting that close to the line.
Time's off.
And then to cough the ball up that close.
Yeah, time's off. Yeah, that's fine.
That'll be disappointing.
I think
And it won't do.
This player's been
Alex
down also.
Codling's
Is that right?
afternoon, he won't make that improve at all. His mood will be ever worsening as this first half progresses.
No, got stuck between two people, didn't I? Sorry.
You can hear how hard that Nottingham are trying to work in defence. Don't panic in their attack. They're quite happy in their defensive structures, just to get up, make tackles, get back on their feet. Been really, really impressed with the likes of Matt Everard, Jimmy Stevens at hooker.
Referee consulting on that decision as to when Mark Bright went over the line, and well, they obviously got it right. There was very little reaction from Ealing to suggest they thought it was anything other than a scrum. Sunshine is just beginning to dip into the distance.
And with it, the temperature.
I was going to say, and if you're watching at home, nice and cosy. We had a few people messaging us on social media on Friday. They were saying the bolognese is on, the red wine's flowing, and I'm enjoying the game. In the meantime, Mo Hunt, Emily Scarrett and I were brass monkeys, and it's turning into a similar scenario here at Lady Bay at Nottingham. But this is rugby, this is November, that's why we do it. And we've certainly been entertained by Nottingham so far. 3 tries on the board. A brace for Evans. Billy Robinson getting on there. Hashtag Champ Rugby to let us know where you're tuning in. See if we could just move that building out of the way, then we might be bathed in sunshine, Tom May. Might be able to top up that tan of yours.
Listen, you're the one with a scarf, beanie and gloves on, mate.
Nottingham, plenty of pressure on their own line. Got to try and set this up and get a decent exit. Big hit off the ball as Shane Buckley came through on Piers O'Connor.
No.
Ealing trying to counter ruck through. Exit from Veenendaal. Might have fancied a bit more metres on it. Ealing will have a chance to come again.
It's interesting. I thought Nottingham, that's the first time they've looked rushed and panicked into making their exit.
6.
Veenendaal didn't really have the space to make a long clearance kick. There's no point in rushing in those areas. Get your processes right. Make sure you get exactly the right players in the positions to protect you.
Out. That's once. No, out inside.
Into the maul.
Same maul.
Ealing now just get it reset. The ball's just spilled. It's gone forwards. They are really struggling with accuracy this afternoon, Ealing.
And Mark Bright, quite rightly, shaking his head, really disappointed with the way his forwards looked after that ball in that maul. But this will be buoying the confidence within that Nottingham side. You can hear Matt Everard saying, here we go. They'll be getting excited about the prospect of really kicking their game on through this second half of the first period.
Bind. Set. No, stand that
Scrum moving all over the place. Referee is going to have to get that reset.
It's about the only warm place actually this afternoon, isn't it? Right up in the middle of it.
Yeah. Yeah, Jimmy Stevens and Alan Walker, the warmest men in Nottinghamshire.
I think I'd take being colder rather than being there.
Crouch. Bind. Set. Go 9.
Veenendaal
Use.
gets it away. Nottingham
Ooh, good hit.
quite happy to send Gerard Lyons into the front line. Get him to get over the gain line. Now the kick comes downfield from Eden. Brilliant take from Stegman. Now feeds Peter Lydon. Lydon looks off to the right through Munro. Piers O'Connor working hard to try and get a bit of go forward, set up the next ruck, and it's there for Carter. Still in their own half here, Ealing. Nottingham happy to allow them to create from there.
Here.
Stegman comes running onto it. He's got numbers. He's starting to, well, destroy the amount of space that there was. Eventually feeds Rain Smith, who comes back in field. It's gone backwards. Mark Bright with a brilliant pickup. And now Carter. This is more like the Ealing we've seen over the course of the season. But this is brilliant work potentially from Will Stewart, trying to hold the man up.
It's called tackle.
But he did end up with his feet on the floor, or sorry, at least his knees on the floor. The referee called tackle, and Stewart would have had a duty to release him. So it's a penalty to Ealing, and their first chance of points on the board if they were to go for the sticks. But they've opted to kick this into the corner. Such is the momentum, they're now beginning to believe in themselves. Right or wrong option, Tom May?
They obviously feel like they want to get back into the game quickly, but I think Seb Stegman, it was a great run from him, but as you said, chewed up so much space. All he had to do was run at that end defender. It's about 4-on-1. Okay, they were quite a way out, but you would have thought they would have made something a bit more positive than winning a penalty.
Going for the catch and drive. Stewart told to get out of there. Ealing still going forward, and the try's been scored. They get some change finally. They turned down the chance for 3 to go for more, and it's paid off for them.
Yeah, fully deserved. They've worked hard to get into the game, and over the last 5 minutes they've managed to do so. But for all the defensive effort that we've seen Nottingham put in this first half an hour, to let Alan Walker get over that easily will be very disappointing for Ian Costello and the Nottingham side.
Yeah, peeled off very well at the back there. Flops his way over Alan Walker. He's scoring a fair amount of tries this season. Scored 7 so far. That's his 8th. Lydon's first shot is a good one. So that'll settle the Ealing nerves a little bit now.
They needed to get something in this first half.
That same lifter and pushed him in, though.
They had a poor 30 minutes. Nothing's gone right for them. But a great way for them to get back into the game.
Eden's restart. Ealing driven back. Communication just going on in the backfield of Nottingham, waiting for this kick to come up from Carter as to who's going to be the one to take it. It's not been gathered well. Worked out instead for Will Harries. And now Ealing. It's a semi-crossfield kick, but I think it was meant for Stegman to try and chase, but actually Billy Robinson has dealt with it brilliantly, straight down his throat, and then makes 15 metres in running it back. Now they come to the right through Eden, who is looking for the corner, finds Stegman, and he might hope that that was seen as backwards, but the referee doesn't agree.
Good skill from Tiff Eden. Ball bounced up back to him. His reactions were fantastic to stick it back on his boot and force the knock-on. He's done really well at trying to find those spaces in behind the back three of Ealing, making them turn. Nearly went horribly pear-shaped after that crossfield kick from Pemberley went wrong. I thought Billy Robinson was going to run that back. There's a lot more inroads into that Ealing defence.
Yeah, we saw him sail through for the try, didn't we? I wondered if the waves were going to part for him once again. Ball was meant for the number 14 of a different colour. Vinendahl. It's at the back with Buckley. Gets it away. Robinson uses the first receiver there, and then it nearly opened up for Eden to come round the corner, but
you've guided the player out of the way.
Referee right on the spot to spot a bit of obstruction.
You're ahead of the ball and you've guided the defender out of the way.
Billy Robinson being picked up for obstruction.
I imagine a few attack coaches' scrapbooks need to be torn up the moment referees start saying you can't use someone to guide someone out the way.
No one ever tries to do that, do they?
No.
I think it was something that Ben Ward would be looking at half-time, though. The defensive setup of that Ealing backline. It's been pretty easy to get on the front foot, get over the gain line.
Ealing beginning to have a bit more luck in releasing the ball out of the tackle. Harries on for Bright. Carter's there. Attempted steal from Nottingham. They're saying he was first man. He's still holding onto the ball on the floor here. But it comes back on the Ealing side. Smith. Moved from Bristol a little way up the M4 to Ealing in January of this year, Smith. Couple of tries last week, as we saw in our build-up to kick-off in last week's highlights. Ealing certainly having much more possession now in this second quarter of the match. They barely touched the ball in the first 20 minutes. Carter. Very happy to use forwards and backs. Casson there, the man asked to take it on, just looked outside him, but took the right decision in the end to set up the platform. Now they've got the front row duo of Tampen and Gibbons ready to make the carry, but now it comes out for Pemberley and he'll release it out the back through Munro. Little attempted run around the corner from Arthur Ellis, and I think while he was doing it, he's even questioning the referee about whether Nottingham's defence is onside, and there's a penalty for the Troubles, because the answer was they weren't.
Thank you, Gareth.
Well, there's some fantastic work again in defence from Jimmy Stevens. He's had an outstanding first half. As once again, Pemberley goes for the corner. This time, Nottingham will put up a more stern defence, you would think.
All we turn around is to see that.
The work rate and effort in the defence from Nottingham's been outstanding. Really impressive so far.
Ealing with it again. Could this result in another try for Alan Walker? Nottingham trying to defend it better than they did the last time. They certainly got it slower, but the try is scored again. Well, they found their way through it, and it is Alan Walker. Try number 9 for the hooker over the course of the season, and you get a sense why.
I'll tell you what, the wingers will be hating that. 9 tries for a hooker. Really well organised in that area, as you would expect, under the coaching guidance of Alex Codling. Proper stickler for detail. And in those areas, Ealing have worked very hard to get themselves back into this game. And now, as I mentioned before, this is a key time for Nottingham to try and see this half out to start with.
Lydon, oh, he's just mishit that. Could have done with closing the gap to 8 points, but they've just let one get away there. So it's Nottingham 22, Ealing 12, and, well, a rolling maul, and the end result the same.
Yeah, and you've just got to put up a tougher defence. Gilroyd Lyons there just stood next to them, advancing more. If it gets that close, you can't just stand off. You've got to fly in, try and get underneath that ball. Too soft from Nottingham.
Ealing brawling his way through is Bright. Carter. They want it released out the back. They want a chance to try and get a 3-on-1 here. Ended up finding its way to Stegman, but he had to do some clearing up work first of all. Carter. And it's on to Smith. Good tackle from Will Stewart. Brings 2 men to ground in one hit. Carter told to use it. Joined last season former Rotherham and Cinderford scrum half. Now, that's a nice crisp pass to bring Piers O'Connor onto the ball.
Tackle.
Was on loan to Bedford previously, O'Connor. And now they break again. And that's a good offload from Monroe. And Bright feeds it on for Harries. And Harries will dot down in the corner. Ealing have fought back brilliantly. And what will it be doing to Nottingham's confidence now as this game twists and turns all within the first 40 minutes? We were promised tries, Tom May. We're getting them.
It's certainly what we asked for, wasn't it? And it's been brilliant so far. Really entertaining game of rugby. Joe Monroe in that midfield just picked through the breakdown, and then a fantastic offload. And once Mark Bright's got it in that position, Scanlon's got nothing that he can do. And Harry's from that distance can't do anything but run it in.
Well, Bright doing exactly what Seb Stegman should have done a little earlier, holding that line, delaying that pass right until the last minute, and able to put Harries in for the score.
And Scanlon did what he could do as well, didn't he? Backed off. You have to just keep waiting. Really difficult at times as an attacker to just keep going at that defender. Don't get bored of doing the simple things. It feels slightly odd because he's almost running away from you.
Try number 3 for Ealing. Let 1 get away. Let 2 get away. So still 5 points, the gap between the 2 sides.
Great game on our hands here, and some fantastic skills on show as well from both teams. Ealing, the depth at scoring, driving mauls or tries out wide.
Yeah, we've seen Ealing mix it up a little bit now. Comes down for Bright, who was key part of making that try happen. He was on the kick receipt. Ealing continued to hold on possession from the last restart before they managed to get the try. Our clock, the best estimation to the first 40, and the referee says we've had a little bit more. So that will be that in terms of the first half showing. 3 tries from Nottingham, building themselves to a 22-point lead from Ollie Evans and also from Billy Robinson. But Ealing have worked their way back into it through Walker with a brace from the rolling maul, and then from Will Harries. 5 points the difference with those kicks that have got away from Leiden. It's a half-time score at Lady Bay of Nottingham Rugby 22, Ealing Trailfinders 17. Now, of course, we've been treated to some wonderful rugby by England in terms of the women and the men over the course of the weekend, and whether you've been playing rugby from your grassroots clubs out there or enjoying the very top level stuff, England Rugby have been working on this video. You may have seen it already. It's called The Game of Our Lives, and well, we're certainly enjoying the game today. It's what all of us get out of the oval ball. It's a great film using The Law of the Jungle by Rudyard Kipling, and if you've not seen it, well, here's your opportunity.
Now this is the law of the jungle. As old and as true as the sky. And the wolf that should keep it may prosper, but the wolf that should break it must die. Wash daily from nose tip to tail tip. Drink deeply, but never too deep. And remember, the night is for hunting. And forget not, the day is for sleep. The jackal may follow the tiger, but cub, when thy whiskers are grown, remember the wolf is a hunter. Go forth and get food of thy own. Keep peace with the lords of the jungle, the tiger, the panther, the bear, and trouble not Hattie the silent, and mock not the boar in his lair. When pack meets with pack in the jungle, and neither will go from the trail, lie down till the leaders have spoken. It may be fair words shall prevail. As the creeper that girdles the tree trunk, the law runneth forward and back. For the strength of the pack is the wolf, and the strength of the wolf is the pack.
It's a good video, isn't it? We promised it was. It's an absolute cracker, so we hope you enjoyed that. So Tom May, 22-17 to Nottingham Rugby. It's the sort of lazy question sometimes at half-time, but actually who will be the happier going in at that point? Because Nottingham with the 22-point advantage will have had it all their own way, and then they've let Ealing Trailfinders back into it. They've had their hands on the ball for that second quarter of the game, and now Ealing will feel a lot happier about things.
Ealing will no doubt be happier going in at half-time. 22-17. They were all at sea in that first 20 minutes, weren't they? Sat on the bus almost. Didn't have any of the ball, couldn't keep the ball, everything was going wrong. But to drag themselves back into the game in the way that they have, they've repeatedly done what's worked for them well, which is a good thing. You know, people were saying, "Oh, change your game up." Well, actually, just stick with what works. If you go to the corner and you can get driving more going, and Walker goes over for 9 tries. And it clearly works, so stick with it.
Yeah, absolutely. 6 tries in this game then. 6 tries on Friday night to Jess Breach. One player on her debut for England women. Quite the story. If you didn't see any of England women against Canada, we had 14 debutants for the Maple Leafs. England with 7 debutants, 2 in the starting 15. But let's say they were pretty happy with things, because it was a 79 points to 5 victory. Some sensational scores. We've got them all for you right now.
Now England come again. Dana McLean through Burford. Now they look for the long ball on the outside. Is it going to be an early chance to get into the corner? Oh, what a finish that is from Jess Breach!
No scrum half to begin with, but Riley steps back. Daly McLean, Marley Packer, left-hand Fenn. Packer still going, frees the arms to get the offload away. Reed with the dummy. Oh, sorry, Burford. What a try! Lovely from Rachel Burford. Riley, good front football for England. Canada might be narrow here again. Now Reed flings it wide. Superb hands from Waterman. And now Breach to scurry into the corner. No one will stop Jess Breach. England get try number 3 and 2 in 2 minutes. Comes to Burford. Now out the back, Daly McLean. Have they got more space on the left? It's Jess Breach. Is she going to be invited into the corner for a hat-trick? Oh, she is. And now Daly McLean wanting to try and isolate the last defender, and Abigail Dow to show what she's got in terms of a finish, cutting back in field. Dow to turn, Jess Nielsen inside out. Abigail Dow with England's 4th try. Riley. Ball's at the base for England. Cleal. Breach coming off the left wing. Breach to go route 1. Breach to get try number 4. Oh, well, how about that?
And it just opens up all of that space for Jessica Breach, and she is having a whale of a time at the moment.
Yeah, I think it's potentially a little bit of inexperience on the flank there.
Gets dreadfully close. Riley again. Amy Cockayne with the pirouette and with the try.
When you're looking up and you're seeing white shirts everywhere, you know you've got to hold your space. You know you've got to stay in the defensive line. And you know, Amy Cockayne slightly unconventionally does a pirouette and scores.
Met well in the tackle from Jada. And now England come wider again. Reed on for Breach. Breach fancying another go. Farries, oh, couldn't hold on to Breach. Breach goes the outside again. This is an incredible performance from Jess Breach. She had work to do on that occasion. Cockayne. Cornborough waits at the front. They get it up for Scott. We haven't had too many rumbles over from the forwards. It's been all the backs so far, but maybe Amy Cockayne fancies try number 2. She's in there at the back. I'm not sure that she got it. That's where it might happen, but the ball is slow. They're having to construct it. Pelletier, then away for Nels again, trying to get low body position. Are they over? Yes, it's a try for Canada. And it's Ronnie Harrigan, I think, at the bottom of it. Turnover ball, and they're breaking away from Abby Dow. Dow to go all the way. Abigail Dow with England's 10th try of the night. Wiley. Harrison. Crossfield kick from Harrison. Oh, and it might have fallen into the hands of Jess Breach. If you don't buy a ticket, you're not going to win the raffle. Burford couldn't get over. Clark. She fancied the score herself. Is Rocky Clark over? She is.
Just taking it into contact there, Marley Packer. She has made an unbelievable amount of breaks. Her ability to move the ball just before and post contact has been fantastic. Also turning balls over at the breakdown.
Well, as we discuss our player of the match, a moment ago you mentioned Ellie Kildune, and she pops up to support Jess Breach, and Kildune will score. We're back. Sorry, I didn't even turn my microphone on there. See, professional job being done here, as you can tell. Incredible amount of tries scored by England women there. Jess Breach with 6, a brace for Abby Dow as well. They're all getting on the score sheet. Entertaining stuff, that, wasn't it?
Yeah, some really good skills on show. Tough for the Canadians, especially where they have been over the past couple of years. To be struggling like that against England would be disappointing. But you can't take away from the fact that the England women at the moment are flying.
Yeah, they certainly are, and they're playing Canada again on Tuesday. That's at the Twickenham Stoop. If you want to go, englandrugby.com/tickets. Get yourself along to support the Red Roses. Right, we can bring you another little film now because we've been enjoying the series of films looking inside Championship Rugby, and well, here's another one from Richmond this time, and Craig Trenier is the subject of the latest video.
played my club rugby with Tarnier since I was like 4 years of age. Kind of came through all the age groups there. Played my school rugby there as well. Then kind of got into the Leinster under-20s. Then kind of worked my way onto the Irish 20s squad to New Zealand. I got injured actually in the team run there, and I had to come home the next day basically. So that was a big kind of downside, and that was a massive opportunity lost for me. Kind of off the back of that, got scouted by Ulster, and then got offered full-time academy there. For those 4 years, rugby was literally absolutely everything. Like rugby's still a huge kind of part of my life, but it's not absolutely everything anymore. I kind of felt like there was a massive kind of like gap in relation to other elements of my life that kind of wasn't being really fulfilled, that kind of stuff. And that's kind of when the opportunity of Richmond came along. It was, it couldn't have been better timing. Culture fit is absolutely everything to me, and it's something that that I don't know I was as aware of how its importance to me as of last year. Since I've moved over to London and made this kind of big step, Richmond have kind of just made it so easy. They found me a home to live in. They've also furnished it. They also found me a job. First kind of thing that pops into my mind, what I think of Richmond so far would be kind of an all-for-one kind of atmosphere and attitude. Like for example, when I was making this move, I literally probably had around 10 people surrounding me, kind of making the move an awful lot easier, and the support was absolutely incredible. So I moved over on a Saturday and got into my room, and it was actually unfurnished. The group kind of came together and got me sorted for furniture, so I was actually sleeping on the floor. Some of the guys obviously are quite supportive with the whole transport system as well, and because we actually get trains to games and that kind of stuff. And they've been, some of them have guided me the right way, because I could, you know, on the train to Bristol when we were supposed to be in Nottingham like a couple of times and that kind of stuff. I'm still really hungry to do well in rugby. Like it's still a massive aspiration of myself. Like because I obviously didn't get that opportunity, it kind of got taken away from me quite swiftly with the Irish under-20s. I never got the chance to play that level, so I do still have quite a lot of, very much so, a lot of ambition to proceed in the game. Yeah. This is actually probably the best quality of rugby I've ever played. I didn't get any kind of caps for the first team or anything like that with Ulster. I was more so kind of in the training squad, and I would have played the A games and that kind of stuff as well. So this is definitely kind of leaps and bounds in relation to being a front row anyway. It's definitely leaps and bounds ahead of where I've been before. My scrummaging has kind of come on big time. Everyone I've kind of scrummaged against would have been definitely of a higher standard that I would have been exposed to last year. Some of the props, they kind of can give you a lesson or two in this league. You not really kind of get that in the club rugby that I was playing in Ireland. Like I've already kind of got the scrummage against people like Tonga, who's probably got triple figure caps for Northampton, that kind of stuff, and that kind of experience is like invaluable. Like there's a special bond here between the players. It's a genuine power of our team is the bond we have within our fellow players. Like everyone's treated the same. If it's someone in the minis, right up to kind of like Will Warden as captain, everyone's treated with respect, and everyone's given support when needed. Like we've no license to be doing how well we've been doing so far, and I feel that's the cement and why we're doing quite well so far. It was a huge risk kind of me coming over here, because I didn't, if I'm being totally honest, I didn't do that much kind of research. I also wanted to play at good level, so Championship, I get to work. There's no real looking back there. I'm absolutely thrilled that I've made this decision, and yeah, and I wouldn't look back in any way.
Lovely to get an insight into the various characters that are playing their rugby in the Greene King IPA RFU Championship. So I think we can have a little look at some of the highlights from that first half, just while we await the teams coming out, which will surely be in just a couple of moments. And well, the dream start for Nottingham.
Yeah, that's my favourite try of the lot. Great step to go underneath the sticks. I think Veendal's been really good in that first half, attracting defenders in and around the breakdown. But when you've got footwork and pace like that...
Yeah, Ollie Evans, brilliant. And then he pops up again for his second.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad few minutes, was it, for him? The opening 10 minutes. If you could ask for an opening 10 minutes, you'd probably ask for that one that Ollie Evans had. But a great start for Nottingham. A diabolical one for Ealing.
Well, Billy Robinson was provider on that one, and then, well, he popped up with a lovely line straight through here. Little sell of the dummy, and a little bit of lax tackling.
I think that was the most disappointing one, wasn't it, from an Ealing perspective? The defence just was non-existent. But they managed to grab themselves an opportunity, drag themselves back into the game. And Alan Walker nicked to brace himself.
Up the jumper stuff from Ealing to get those first couple of scores, to get them back into it, and then Will Harries with the third try, and it puts 5 points now between them at the start of the second half, and well, 22 points to 17. Nottingham will feel like they've got to do it all again.
Yeah, and I think they need to work on the things that were working really well for them in that first half. Their kicking game to start the first half was brilliant. They applied pressure to Ealing. They didn't let the back three get their hands on the ball. And also they maintained that line speed throughout the whole 40 minutes, which is going to be key if they're going to win this game.
Restart then. Floodlights doing their job in the East Midlands murk. Now the sun has just started to disappear into the horizon. Good old autumnal autumn rugby. It's certainly a chilly one out here. We hope you're enjoying wherever you're watching. Ball still inside, referee quite clearly telling Ealing as Carter waits to get the exit away. Got a bit of height on that one. Wants it challenged by Harries. Harries does get the tap back, but it's going to be Nottingham who wrestle it to the ground. Buckley going through the hands quickly. Replacement scrum half is on for Nottingham. Murray McConnell.
He's on the ball. Play on.
Has there been a turnover in the middle there? Yes, there has. Certainly surveying their options here, Ealing. Opt to put the kick in, but it's brilliantly fielded by Williams, and then on to Scanlon. And just trying to find his way forward, the Irishman.
Hold that.
McConnell. Ball pops up at the back. It's Rory Clegg.
6.
Onto the field for Ealing. Now they come back to the right. Well, that is to no one from Nottingham. And they're going to have to try and put a bit of momentum on it from the back. Fair old ask of Geroid Lyons there.
Thank you.
Trying to snap it through the hands and change the point of attack, which they managed to do so. Buckley taking a couple of metres. 6th start at number 8.
Score advantage.
Knock on, says the referee.
7.
Now they come out the back.
Advantage over.
Oh, nearly an opportunity for an interception there, just as the referee had said advantage over as well. But Ealing have ended up going backwards with possession.
No.
Nottingham wanting to put the pressure on here.
Yeah, you almost wonder if Ollie Evans had just changed his angle slightly, where he might have been able to nick in on that ball. There was no one at home. He would have been underneath the sticks for a hat-trick.
Good to see Rory Clegg back in the side. Feeds it away to the right. Trying to just find a little way through the gap there. O'Connor.
Advantage.
Carter brings it away. Clegg. Going through the hands to try and find room in the wider channels. Oh, and it's set up nicely for Bright, who holds it in the one mitt. That was very nicely onto Monroe. Carter again. Then pops it up to the right for Gibbons. Carter, Clegg.
Advantage over.
Little deeper flick from Clegg. That was nice. That's gone forward though. Referee is perfectly on point to call it. Lydon frustrated with himself.
Yeah, that'll be disappointing from an Ealing perspective. They put together some really good stuff there. Got a bit Harlem Globetrotters at times with some one-handed offloads. But
6, sorry, yeah.
if you've got the skills to complete those types of offload, then why not? Certainly a lot more pace to the attack. And that will suit the likes of Rory Clegg. That's his game. He's got a good array of passing skills. And there's certainly one that can look to try and exploit the spaces towards the width of that Nottingham defence.
Bind. Set. Use.
McConnell's told to use that. Tiff Eden looking to probe that corner. Hasn't quite managed to see it go all the way. So Harries will try and send it back with interest, but it just comes back to Eden, who was on the spot from where he kicked it pretty much. Now comes over the halfway line, flicks it out the back for McConnell. McConnell fancies the long pass over the top. Referee says flat as it gets there. So decent bit of work to find David Williams. Or was it Robinson? Now they're back through the hands into the middle, and it's Will Stewart for Nottingham. And he got on board the tank and started driving that upfield there, didn't he? Ball is loose. Referee says it's gone backwards. Now it's in the hands of Lyons. McConnell. Players running onto the ball at pace. Penman wanted it. First start in the championship for Penman in this match. McConnell. Penman was there again, but he was happy to let his prop colleague Stewart take that. And now it's there for Eden again, but the options outside him weren't perhaps deep enough or offering enough, so he had to take that in himself. Now they come to the left. Ollie Evans. Ealing calling the defenders round to that side. Will Stewart, good strong carry from him. He's done well to get a couple of yards out of the 2 carries he's had in these phase plays. Again from Buckley. Now McConnell gets the call on his shoulder. Attempted pick and go from Ben Morris. Didn't see too much of him with ball in hand in that first half. McConnell now releases it. Oh, they wanted quick hands, and it just goes forward as they play high percentage, or rather low percentage plays in terms of whether it was going to stick. High risk. So it's back for Buckley, who's going to have to do it all again. Feeds Jimmy Stevens, who's got a bit of room on the left, and he loves a bit of a run, does the former London Irish hooker. McConnell. Ball staying alive for a decent passage of play here in the Lady Bay field. McConnell thinks he might have spotted a bit of room into the corner. It's sat up. They knew they had an advantage coming. Gibbons is the man who's been penalised. That was what a long passage of play.
There's a few lads blowing. Certainly a few props with their hands on their hips. But great to see both sides really looking to attack, shift the ball about, try and find that space. Just that kicking game from both sides. Certainly that was really accurate in the first half from Nottingham. Not so good from both teams in this opening few minutes of the second half.
I know you tried, but the way the 9 accessed the ruck,
I think it's clear that Alex Codling's spoken to his Ealing team and said they need to raise the pace of the game, try and shift these Nottingham forwards around the field. Really difficult if you make quick, hard carries into a defence that's coming off the line. They have to get back even further when if they're coming up really quickly. They have to work hard to get back on side.
Tiff Eden then. Be the first points for Nottingham for a while, if he can slot this one. Which he does. Gets the penalty for Nottingham, takes them up to 25 points to 17. And I think we can actually speak to the Nottingham Director of Rugby, the Ealing man, Ben Ward, who is down pitch side. Ben, thanks very much for joining us. An interesting first half. You were down 22 points, then you fought it back to half-time. What was the message at the break?
Just what we spoke about before the game. They're a team you can't give possession back to, which we did in the first 20 minutes. I don't think we hardly touched the ball, and when we did, we coughed it up straight away. We also spoke in the week that they were going to fan out, which they did in defence, and we were to pick through the middle if they did that. And you probably saw last 20 minutes we started doing that a lot better.
Yeah, certainly looking to improve, and you know, you've got the upfront stuff, you've got the ability to then get it into the wider channels as well. Is there one of those particular areas that you're going to prioritise to try and close this game out and grab the win?
Oh, look, if it's on to play, we want to play, but you have to earn the right to go wide. First half, we were playing wide without earning that right, and they were just fanning out and spreading in D. If they're going to keep spreading in defence, we need to keep going through the middle. But at the moment, we haven't really been able to influence our game with any first phase launches as well, which hopefully we can start.
Well, we appreciate your time, Ben. Thanks very much for speaking to us, and we look forward to seeing how the team get on over the course of, well, the next 30 minutes or so.
Thank you, cheers.
Thank you very much, sir. That was great. Just get your little...
Anything going? I got it back.
The screams about which way that ball has gone. They're certainly trying to appeal to the referee, but Ealing have it. Ealing with a bit of possession in a nice area of the field, trying to spread it wider now. Gets to the hands of Will Harries, but that last one did go forward. So a bit of frustration.
2 or 3 times now that Ealing have created simple 3-on-2 chances in these outside 15 metres. Just trying to overcomplicate it slightly, take the ball on too far as a ball carrier. Just run on that inside shoulder of a defender. Sit him down defensively, make him rock back onto his heels, then give the ball. Don't take the ball too close to that defender, so he can then influence whether or not the pass is made.
Kick, box kick. Yeah, middle row. Yeah. Let's go. Ready? Yeah. Crouch. Bind. Set.
Good peel at the back. Nottingham looking to get going through Josh Pullett. Ball comes down. Ealing putting the pressure on, but tackles flying in from Nottingham at the same time. They're going to try and make a nuisance of them and get slow ball, but Rain Smith carries so well, doesn't he? Former Western Province man comes forwards, then Clegg just got himself caught up in midfield there.
Good work, Kate.
Good and experienced half-back pairing now, as there's just a final error on that far touchline again from Ealing. But Clegg and Grayson Hart at 9. They've got a lot of experience between them. And you'd think that Alex Codling's brought them on to try and see this game out, really influence this second half. Put the Ealing side in the right areas of the field, because if they are in the right areas of the field, we've seen that they can score pretty easily.
How many? Gets how many?
Just got a bit of attention being given for Nottingham here.
7. Then just line up on the line.
Yeah, replacements keeping themselves well oiled.
Time. That's a maul.
Good drive.
On your feet, 6. He's bound in, he's legal. Once.
Ball's at the back.
Right, use it.
We've got a fair amount of distance to go here, so McConnell's going to put this one in the air. Try and test the back of Nottingham, but They come through nicely. Stegman with a good take out of the air, and now they've got some good go forward here. Building up a good head of steam. Oh, that's excellent running. Piers O'Connor got rid of that. When he was just in space, he might have gone all the way. Hart takes it down. Clegg spots that his half-back colleague has been swallowed up, so he's in, but then it's bumped out in the tackle. It goes backwards. Bright. Grayson Hart, 4th time off the bench this season, trying to just find a little bit of room as Stegman works hard. It's gone forwards from Ealing though, and Nottingham have tried to clear their lines. It's tapped down, so we'll come back for the scrum.
Another good opportunity for Ealing down this near side. Ball being shifted away nicely from Seb Stegman. Learned from that tracking across the field that he did in the first half. But Piers O'Connor, I've seen him play a couple of times this season. He's got a brilliant gliding way of running, pretty sharp. Thought he was going to get away there.
I think he thought the last line of defence was going to stop him, so he got ready to pass the ball, and then actually the tackler fell away from him.
Just remember, if they're the initial contest, it's the same as what we allowed up there with you.
Changes being made by both sides now.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Yeah. Right, you ready? Let's go. Matt. Who's the captain now, James?
Replacing for Greene White, replacing number 7, Matt Everard.
Time's on.
A few replacements coming on now. Matt Everard going off and Jordan Coughlin coming on. Good effort from Matt Everard in defence, certainly. His efforts alongside Jimmy Stevens have been outstanding this afternoon.
Right, gents.
He gets a well-earned break on the touchline.
Yeah, okay. Right, gents. Wait across.
So just seeing Ealing juggle the back line around a little bit as well. Lewis Jones is he's onto the field, but likes of Munro and O'Connor are still out there as well.
Longer binds.
Along with, of course, Rory Clegg pulling the strings.
Expect to wait before the ball comes in. Yeah, middle row.
Ready?
Crouch. Bind. Set.
McConnell gets it in. There's a big shot from Nottingham. It goes to ground, but it's a penalty to Ealing.
I can see what that means to the whole team. Both centres, Joe Munro, Lewis Jones heading in to congratulate their forwards. Worked really hard, and now you can tell exactly where the confidence lies for Ealing. Pretty happy just to kick to the corner, and I wonder who they'll be trying to shift the ball to.
On the line. Stationary. Maul.
Ball is won. We've seen them do this a few times. They're all joining in. Nottingham doing their best to try and defend it, but you get a sense of the inevitable about the score coming Ealing's way. They get the reward.
It's Joe Munro, I think. He shifted into that driving maul pretty quickly.
Spotted the chance to get himself on the score sheet, even though the forwards were doing the work.
Yeah, that'll be really annoying for the forwards. Because let's face it, no back knows what they're doing in a maul.
You set a good maul up.
But they're really, really accurate in those areas, aren't they? Alex Codling's worked really hard with his troops. You see how tight they are, good body positions. Nottingham, when they splinter, they're all over the shop.
So Rory Clegg, the first chance to get points of the season for him. 3 points the gap now. This to cut it down to a single point on the hour mark. Straight through the sticks. Well, what a game on we have now into the last 20 minutes. It's Nottingham Rugby 25, Ealing 24.
Yeah, really good game now. Who's got the mental strength to see this out?
Time off.
Is it going to be Nottingham that started so brilliantly?
1 and 2, gents.
Or will they now start to creak and question whether they've got what it takes to get over the line?
Changes being made for Nottingham then. Jimmy Stevens and James Penman leaving the field. Ben Brownlee on and Seko Sio. It's 9th appearance from the bench so far this season. 2 big men to try and add their weight to things. It's a really decent clearance. Are Nottingham going to try and use this one quickly? Decide not to in the end. If they'd have taken it quickly, it would have been a good 30 yards behind the mark. So I think they've opted to say, well, actually, we'll have the line out a bit further up.
How many?
They got some good returns from their last driving line out, so they may well look to go to that again. Slightly bizarre that they can get such good returns, but then find it so difficult to defend on their own line.
Yeah, there's a lot of knowledge as to how to create the driving maul, less so about defending it legally, is there?
So difficult.
See that at the top level as well. McConnell gets the feed away nicely to Poulet. Now then, can Nottingham create a little bit of room? There wasn't a lot of room for David Williams down on the near side, so McConnell will feed back in field, and Stewart, who is still up there, the last of the starting front rows, still fighting for the cause. Nottingham with their noses in front, but it doesn't feel like the momentum is with them. Can they turn this into something as Billy Robinson just gets scragged in the tackle? McConnell looking to the left. Brownlee was there. Then there's the big hit from Jones on Scanlon. Brownlee manages to set the ball back, but in that last 30 seconds of possession, Nottingham have gone backwards more than forwards.
5!
Seko Sio.
The ball's there.
Referee saying the ball is available. Tackles fly in from Ealing. They're looking to try and get the turnover ball, but the clear out arrives just in time. McConnell wants to try and get a bit of air on this one. The kick chase isn't particularly strong, so it allows plenty of time for Harries to start the run and get the good fend away, as Tom made comments. And now it's out the back from Clegg, and they might have found a little chance to go a little wider here, and Jones is lurking out there, then gets the chip through. It's going to be a chase into the corner, but McConnell was well positioned to get hold of it, and now he will clear. At the end of it all, Ealing will have a line out between the 10-metre line and the 22. But well, we touched on it towards the end of the first half about the line speed of Nottingham and how hard they were working at that point in the game. But well, Tom, mate, Ealing are looking a little zippier and a little quicker and fitter now, aren't they?
Certainly the likes of Will Harries, Lewis Jones having an impact on the game. Harries with some sevens experience with Wales. Capped a few times as well, I believe.
Yeah, 3 times for Wales, the 30-year-old. Bright loves popping up in that position, surveying his options. An 8 come 10, he likes to think himself as. Clegg doing more of the work than the number 8 on that occasion. Casson. Now it comes through Clegg again. Feeds it away to Lewis Teed. 3rd appearance from the bench for him this season. It's a good solid run from Smith. If you're not going to tackle him hard and low, then he will just continue to make meters until he's eventually put down. Here he is on the ball again.
2 in the tackle that time. Now they're trying to keep it alive, and the ball pops up. It was nearly there for Nottingham, but Ealing have kept it alive. And again it comes through Hart. Now Bright again. Oh, brilliant fend from Bright, and he still goes. They want quick ball. Hart, Clegg crashing in at close quarters. Have they got the turnover? Yes, they have, and that's crucial. Absolutely critical turnover. Brilliant play from Nottingham.
Josh Pullett, I think, or Pullett. Fantastic turnover for a big man to get into that position and withstand the
Nice, boys, let's go to touch.
onrushing
And we're playing through.
Ealing clearers. He did brilliantly there.
Through. We're not stopping the game. Go to touch.
It's time for a little drink. By the looks of it, let's just pass the bottle around. Sean Scanlon. Referee doesn't want there to be any delay in this. Wants to crack straight on.
Matt, James Edel making a sub. No, there's no subs. Play on. James, we can't stop for every man. On you go.
Referee wants things to get on, but at the minute the Nottingham hooker is down, and referee is saying we can't stop for everybody, but the players think differently.
On you come.
Referee has stopped time.
Ref saying
no more patience for Ben Brownlee.
Yeah, he's the hooker though. He's got to throw it in.
It's a minor point, Tom.
Yeah.
Do not question the authority. It's at the back, McConnell. Nottingham will take heart from that key turnover from Pullett. But now they give it away. Just as I say that, Ealing get the first man in there and force the turnover. And this could be a position for Clegg to go for posts.
They look out on their feet now, Nottingham, don't they? They don't really have a lot in response to anything that Ealing are serving up. And rather than posts, Ealing have decided to go for the corner,
which they've missed.
And that is a massive error.
Well, that is a curious decision, really, right from the very start. It's a good run back as well from David Williams. McConnell wants the players in to give him a bit of a guard so he can get this high ball up and send people after it. Kick chase needs to be good. Oh, that's really well taken. Brownlee with the pressure. There were 2 players going for it. They've taken it to deck, but Brownlee's going to get the benefit and get the ball for Nottingham. And, well, that has really shown up the decision from Ealing to not take the 3 points and put themselves in front.
Let's go, gents.
I'm completely lost as to why you would not try and win the game first of all. You've scored 4 tries. So therefore, why go to the corner? Unless you're really lacking in confidence about your kicking game, but bang in front of the sticks, 40 metres out.
Arguably, he slotted a more difficult effort, slightly closer, but wider out. Answers on a postcard for that one.
Set.
Maybe Rory Clegg, although he's out of match time, he's also out of a bit of game management time.
Dust that brain off.
McConnell has it at the back. Williams, good thrust from him again. Ball wasn't coming quite quick enough to Jordan Coughlin, but just checked his run, and they've tried to put the little kick through.
Oh, great pickup.
Didn't work out initially for Geroid Lyons, but he then had to recover the error of his ways and did so well. Little switch from Eden.
Hughes. Now we spoke about it before the game.
Coughlin again. McConnell. It's these little areas, though. Once they've played 2 or 3 phases at decent pace, Nottingham, they're then just slowing to the next bit. McConnell needs to get there and whip that ball away. Keep the options open for Nottingham. That's brilliant. Much better from Eden. Just turning the defence back into their 22.
Yeah, doing exactly what he did in the first half. Just keep turning Ealing. Allow Nottingham a chance to spend some time in the final third of the field. Try and earn a penalty to extend their lead.
We've not looked down to the left too much in our commentary of the second half, have we? So Ealing have it.
Maul.
Bring it down.
It's a maul now. Sorry, it's a maul.
Ref calling the maul. Plenty of pressure under this high ball. Williams has dealt with it. Little show from Scanlon on the halfway line. Forward to forward as Rory Burke comes on now. Big number 18, started against Bedford last week. Second appearance from the bench this season from him.
Ben Brownley's had an impact since he's come onto the field.
Yeah, he certainly has. Oh, that was loose at the back. McConnell was under pressure. Referee had a good look at it. Didn't blow too early there, did he? He was almost allowing them to take that ball, but it was the moment that they moved McConnell out of the way to get to the ball. Well, the referee says they played at him before getting the ball. Arthur Ellis, the man who's been pinged.
It's not often you hear referees telling players when they have to try and kick to touch, or you're well within your rights to just take your time, make sure that you're clearly not delaying the game or time wasting.
Well, in a game as tight as this, perhaps referee Makepeace is just aware that either side may have their own reason to try and slow it down. But well, our clock showing 9 minutes remaining. That's our best estimation to the referee's whistle. When it comes at the 80-minute mark, McConnell. Good communication to find Buckley. Now they fire again. Eden got the call. Short ball on his right shoulder. It worked nicely for Nottingham. If they could get a score here, what would that do for their confidence to get the result over the line? What would it do for Ealing, who currently have the losing bonus and the 4-try bonus? Oh, and it's not been successfully rescued from Nottingham without the knock-on, and Ealing will have the scrum.
Yeah, a couple of good carries there from Nottingham. Great line and carry from Ollie Evans, the far side of those posts. But just turning the ball over at a really important time. With about 8 minutes to go, they need to be keeping the ball up there. Running that clock down, not allowing Ealing any time on the ball. Comes back to that penalty again. We're now 8 minutes from time. I'm still left scratching my head.
Well, it's also down now to the effectiveness of the Ealing clearance, isn't it? Because if Nottingham can put enough pressure on, then they could maintain the pressure on Ealing, keep them down here, stop them getting a clearance that's too effective. But they're going to try and put it through the hands and get their way out of the 22, are they? Almost. Now they go cheeky little run down the short side. Grayson Hart just keeping it ticking over. Ealing will back themselves to make some yards. Clegg through Jones. That's a little bit of a nowhere pass, and Piers O'Connor has got a bit of work to do as the Nottingham defence comes up on him, but we're going back for an advantage.
Yeah.
This will be the exit
on his knees
that Ealing wanted.
Yeah.
I must admit, I didn't hear the referee calling the advantage the first time around, but Clegg will want to get as much on this as he can.
Just 8. On the line, gents. 9. That's enough. Come on. Gents on the line. Use the line.
Ealing. Rise.
It's a good contest and back.
From Smith. Goes backwards. Ealing quick pick and go. Spotted the chance of there not being a defender in the right position, and it's penalty. Ealing again. They're getting their way downfield currently with indiscipline from Ben Morris that time for Nottingham.
I bet they don't go to the corner now.
Well,
it's exactly the same spot they're on, isn't it?
6.
Well, if anything, this is slightly longer, I'd say. And Clegg goes over to the left-hand side.
And he hasn't even gone for the corner, really. He's come up short there, which has just allowed Nottingham an extra, I guess, 10, 15 yards.
Maul. That's once.
Got a long way to go, as Tom May says.
He's legal. Advantage.
There's an advantage there.
Legally through, but sacked.
Nottingham got through, but they sacked them all. Clegg with the crossfield kick. How's this one going to work out? Goes out and finds touch.
Sacked.
We'll come back again. And what's the decision going to be from Ealing on this one?
Surely. Surely.
Shot. Pulse.
Shot has been called, Tom May.
Yeah. No. He's not now.
He's put some pressure on himself, or the Ealing have put pressure on themselves by leaving it to the 76th minute to take a shot at goal.
Oh, he's looking at you then, aren't we?
He's not necessarily someone you would say is a very high percentage goal kicker, Rory Clegg. And his side a 2-point lead with 4 minutes to play.
Have indeed waited till the 76th minute to get themselves in front on the scoreboard for the first time. Big finish needed if Nottingham are to get this result.
No, out.
Ball has come out of the 22. You could hear the referee advising there, so it couldn't be kicked directly to touch. There's a penalty advantage coming to Nottingham. What's the range of Tiff Eden from that position? Surely got to be the consideration. That is indeed the mark. Eden immediately takes the ball. He's had a look at the posts. And what's the chat? It is posts.
Well, we're going to have some end to the game, aren't we?
Yeah.
Fair play to Eden. This is going to be a massive kick.
Well, while he sets up for this one, Tom May, over the course of the game so far, who've been those that have stood out for you? Who would be your Greene King IPA Championship man of the match?
I think there have been some great performances on both sides. Both hookers, I think, have been outstanding. Jimmy Stevens and Alan Walker. But for me, he set the tone early on. Ollie Evans had a fantastic game. He's my Greene King IPA Championship man of the match.
Got the early brace, and he's certainly been part of a lot of what the Nottingham backline have done that's been done well. It'll only feel good, though, if they can take it with the win. And this is Tiff Eden to try and steal it. Eden, he's put a lot through it. And the flags go up. Sensational last kick.
Absolutely brilliant from Eden. Takes so much mental strength and confidence in your own abilities to step up and do that. And now there's a minute and a half on the clock. And Ealing have to come up with something.
Ball, has that been knocked forward from Nottingham? Yes, it has. Will be on the referee's watch as well. He has a little glance at it.
I think he said there was 2 to go. So a huge defensive effort. They've worked their socks off all afternoon in that area.
And it's got to be disciplined as well, hasn't it?
Can't give. Well, you never know, Ealing might go to the corner.
Set the set up. Ready! Crouch! Bind! Set!
Neither of these packs is going to want to give an inch. Nottingham so wary of giving away a penalty. And they get a decent shove on. And are they getting the penalty themselves, Nottingham? Yes, they are! It was going to be a big call either way. Nottingham shoved pretty hard on that one, and the Ealing front row struggled to deal with it. Referee Jack Makepeace has given the advantage to the home side.
A massive effort from that Nottingham front 8. And you can hear the reaction around the crowd, and those efforts being really congratulated by the back line as well. They know they've been under pressure at times from this Ealing forward pack. But when it really, really was required from them to come up with something, they have done.
Bristol Rugby fans will no doubt be watching on in this one and cheering on the Nottingham effort themselves. They could finish the weekend with a 10-point lead over second place Ealing if Nottingham can close this one out, leading by they are by a point. And they put it up the jumper, and they start to get a bit of a maul going. It's a long way to go to the line, but they won't mind that as long as the clock continues to tick, as long as they've got it in safe possession and legally, and even a penalty advantage now coming. They clear the ball to touch. They're bringing it back for the penalty. The crowd think that he's blowing the full-time whistle. To be fair, even if he'd have cleared it to touch, they'd have had to have the line out.
Last play.
Such are the new laws. Pandemonium on the Nottingham sidelines. They're not quite sure what's happened.
Tap it.
He's got to be a tap and then a clearance.
Don't move till he's kicked his first one. There you go.
Tiff Eden knows exactly what he has to do. It's a brilliantly closed out victory for Nottingham Rugby. They did all the work in the first 20 minutes, really. It was then a case of just trying to hold Ealing Trailfinders off. 4 tries from Ealing, having been 22 points to 0 down. Got themselves truly back into the game, ahead in the game with 4 minutes to go as Rory Clegg stuck a couple of kicks through following Munro's try to get them 27 to 25 ahead. But Tiff Eden, what he's done tonight, what he's done so well on plenty of previous occasions. Nottingham securing victory. It'll move them up to 3rd place in the table. Oh, what a result for the home side.
Massive result. Really shows how they've improved over the past year or so. They've talked about a 2-year plan here, and things are certainly moving in the right direction. Some massive performances from several individuals within that Nottingham team, and all of them from 1 to 22 have worked their socks off in defence, and that was the most important thing. On the flip side, Ealing, they'll be completely and utterly gutted. They didn't turn up for the first 20 minutes. Were slightly inaccurate in various areas of their game in that first half, and that's ultimately what's let them down.
Well, I say that Ealing would be
10 points behind Bristol. Of course, they do go away from this game with 2 points, so I should correct that just to say that they get the 4-try bonus, they get the losing bonus as well. Let's have a look at the highlights from the game then. This was where it all started in the first half. And the man who went on to win Tom May's Greene King IPA Championship Man of the Match nod was Ollie Evans.
Great footwork. Left big Joe Monroe and Mark Bright for dead. And it's not easy.
Yeah, he hit his knees first. Then he went on the ball, got back up, but by that point it's a ruck, so the knees are the first.
And 2 within 10 minutes. Not often you get that.
30's in front. He just has the pen.
Really, this is what's cost Ealing. And this, ultimately, I mean, that's shocking defence. There's no other way of describing it. But they did drag themselves back into it, didn't they? They went straight back to what worked. Alan Walker, was it his 9th try this season?
Yes. Yeah, enjoying himself. 7 tries before today, and then 2 out there from the rolling ball. In the first half, and in that first half an hour, putting all the points on the board as they were. But Ealing, well, they found a way into the scoreboard through Walker, and then as Harries ended up being the man to finish. 22-17 was the score at that point as we went in at half-time. And Ealing, well, building up all that momentum, must have felt that they'd have had the chance to come out and continue to build on it, which they did.
Yeah, and they must have thought at this point, well, we're going to get our way back into this game, get ourselves into a position to win it. And they did get themselves into a position to win it. But ultimately, their first half performance and their discipline let them down. And a moment of magic from Tiff Eden.
Well, Nottingham will be absolutely delighted with the result, and they've managed to close out victory. And I believe that we can now go down pitch side and get some reaction from the coaching staff. Let's just see. Wonderful. We've got Ian Costello with us. Ian, can you hear us right now?
Yeah, Nick, I got you. Thanks.
Excellent. Well, Ian, thanks very much for joining us. Your heart must have been in your mouth for the last few minutes there, but a brilliant effort at closing out the result when, you know, you probably were a little bit disbelieving in that first quarter of the match when you managed to put those 22 points on really so easily.
Yeah, I think we hit a purple patch and we kept riding it out, and we knew Ealing are a quality side. They were always going to come back into it, and they put us under a serious amount of pressure. But to be inside at half-time, 5 points up, playing the way we played, you know, we took a lot of positives out of that, and guys were quiet in the dressing room. We just had to point out when you play a team like this, they're going to have serious purple patches, and it was important that we come out and started from fresh in the second half, which I felt we did.
Yeah, certainly. And once Ealing started building at the start of that second half, obviously you had a lot of defending to do. It seemed that, you know, there were periods, as you say, whether it was a purple patch for Ealing or yourselves, that first quarter you had a lot of the ball and were putting the points on. Then Ealing had a similar 20-minute spell before half-time. So did you know that, you know, as long as you could keep the ball, you'd be able to keep the scoreboard ticking over and keep Ealing out of it?
Yeah, I think they're an excellent side with ball in hand, but what they do is they bring a lot of line speed, and we really focus on how to break that line speed up and preserve energy. I thought our kicking game was not as good as it could have been in the second half. We didn't get some of our chases right, and it put us under a lot more pressure. But when we kept the ball, I thought we were far more effective, and I suppose transferred the pressure onto them, and that was a template for the last quarter of an hour.
And Tiff Eden managing to slot that final kick. Where were you stood? What were you thinking?
Obviously positive thoughts, never a doubt. No, it was a fantastic strike. He's actually gone away and done a huge amount of work in the last 10 days. He wasn't happy with his technique, and I think he connected with that as well as he possibly can, and yeah, fair credit to him. He had an excellent game in terms of how he managed it, and he got that reward with that kick at the end.
Yeah, he certainly did. Yeah, he stepped up, gave it absolutely everything. What does this result mean for Nottingham then? Obviously, it moves you up to third place in the Greene King IPA Championship table, allowing yourselves to put pressure on Ealing Trailfinders, who would have been, well, looking up the table in terms of chasing Bristol, but they've got to look over their shoulder now. Can you hear me there, Ian? I think we may have just lost our connection to Ian down pitch side, but you know, Tom, certainly that will be the case, that Ealing now have got to look over their shoulder. Yeah, definitely. We mentioned it pre-game, didn't we? We said the league's getting more and more competitive. All of the teams have an opportunity to turn each other over. Both these sides beat each other at their respective home grounds last year, and certainly Nottingham will be buzzing tonight on defeating what is a very, very dangerous Ealing team. Yeah, and Bristol will be, well, pretty happy that they've now got that 8-point advantage. Yeah, it's a massive game, a massive result for them as well, clearly, because something has to go wrong that perhaps we might not perceive possible. But, you know, as we've seen today, all it takes is 20 minutes with the mind not focused, and things can change. And a word on Ollie Evans, your Greene King IPA Championship man of the match. He had a decent game, little bits of footwork, but continued throughout the 80 minutes to continue to keep that ball and make sure that his backs were doing the right thing. Yeah, clearly he gave his team a great start, which was brilliant from a Nottingham perspective. But he ran some good lines, got stuck in with the sort of dirty work, clearing rucks and being another back rower at times. But there was some fantastic performances from some of the other players as well. Keep ranting on about him, but Jimmy Stevens, you know, the work that he put in defence especially was outstanding. Yeah, well, we can hopefully hear from Ollie Evans now, because I think he is down with our pitch side camera that we're back with. Ollie, hopefully you can hear us in commentary. Yeah. Congratulations on the result.
Cheers, thanks very much.
Picked out as our Greene King IPA Championship man of the match by Tom May here.
Cheers,
you
Tom.
Enjoyed a bit of footwork to stand up your opposition for that first try.
Yeah, I sort of just saw a little bit of space, gave it a bit of a dummy, and just tried to put on the twinkle toes, which doesn't always work. But yeah, I was surprised to get through there. But yeah, it's brilliant to get on the scoreboard, and even better to win.
Tom May suggested that you stepped so hard that the rest of your moustache fell off.
I think I've still got work on grooming the moustache. I think it's a bit lopsided today, but I think I forgot about the TV cameras, so yeah, it's a work in progress.
It's looking excellent. As someone once said to me when I tried to grow one, it's like one of your eyebrows has come down for a drink. So the result for Nottingham, brilliant to get it over the line. You must have been a little bit fearful when Ealing started to come back into the game, but you did a superb job to game manage it and through to feed and, well, get that final score.
I mean, obviously, like, Ealing have been going really well. We know they're sort of an attacking side and they can score from anywhere, as we saw. So, you know, it was a bit worrying seeing them coming back from there. But, you know, we just tried to believe in ourselves and carry on playing and not try to play too negatively. Just keep being positive, keep playing our game, and luckily it came off in the end. And yeah, Tiff's goal kicking at the end was like unbelievable.
Yeah, will you have a couple of quiet celebratory ones tonight?
Yeah, I'll definitely have a few. Might have a few. We'll see what the rest of the lads up to. But yeah, we'll really enjoy this one. Coming off the back of a bit of a bad game last week, it just makes it even better, to be honest.
Yeah, great to get home and get the win. Well, listen, Ollie, well done to you, well done to the rest of the team, and you can celebrate. It's a fantastic win. Well done.
Cheers. Thanks very much, guys. Cheers. Thank you.
There we are, Greene King IPA keg to enjoy. And our thanks to Ollie. So a decent win for Nottingham. They will continue to kick on. You know, we were telling just before the game, actually off camera, about how we almost couldn't believe that this was only their 4th home game. Yeah. Just the way the season unfolds, that they're back here, but certainly proved to be advantageous to them tonight. Well, an important win, and you know, when we turned up this morning or this afternoon, there's loads of kids around. There's a family feel. The kids are out on the field again now, post game. And a win like that against a good side will do a lot for the club, does a lot for the team, clearly. But it's going to be a tough journey home for Ealing. That's a long trip home to really think about what you've just missed out on. Yeah, it certainly will be. Well, listen, thanks very much once again for your insight, Tom. Of course, a man with experience of playing plenty of clubs, including a little bit in the Championship, so he knows what he's on about. We thank you for your company as well, whether you've been watching through the England Rugby Facebook page or on the Championship website. We'll be back with some more coverage again very soon, but we're going to get ourselves in the warm and get a warm drink, because it's freezing up here for now. From all of us, enjoy your Sunday evening, and it's goodbye from us.